And you're good.
Are we doing Facebook or no?
Yep, we're live right now, so you're good.
Oh, good. We're live right now. All right, well, Donald Trump fights on. What did you expect? I mean, honestly, what did we expect? It's been 1 week, which is about 3 years and 51 weeks less than Hillary Clinton fought after she lost. But we'll give you the latest. Trump has got guys going to court all over the place, dead people voting, mail bags full of ballots thrown away. There's all kinds of voter fraud. We'll find out if it's enough to to overturn the election. Hey, stranger things have happened. We have Joe Biden's list of things to do on day one. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm excited to get back into Paris Climate Accords. Oh, and a national mask mandate. That ought to solve all the problems. Neil Cavuto on Fox cut away from Kayleigh McEnany, and Fox viewers are irate. They're ready to bail and go to Newsmax and watch me. We got the first person lobbying for Alex Trebek's old job, and it's a terrible idea. And we got the worst loss. I mean, sorry. The worst win in modern Patriot history. A comical Monday night football game against the winless New York Jets, the biggest bunch of losers I've ever seen. Look at that. We'll ask the question, is it a good thing or bad thing that the Patriots pulled it out? A dramatic comeback win against the biggest collection of losers in the NFL last night on Monday Night Football. All that today on the Callahan Podcast, brought to you by DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union. Why do DCU members love their free checking accounts? It's simple. No monthly maintenance fees, no minimum balance, no strings attached. What's better is with direct deposit to their free checking accounts, DCU members can get paid up to 2 days early. 0 monthly maintenance fees, 0 monthly balance, 0 reasons not to switch. They'll even remove the hassle of switching your direct deposits and automatic payments from your current checking accounts. Learn more and make the switch today at dcu.org/free checking, insured by NCUA, membership required. All right, Ellenade's here. Reimer is going to join us. I know some people hate to hear that, but I have a question for people like Reimer, just people who are so happy to get rid of Donald Trump. They'll miss him, of course, because no one will ever be as entertaining, as fun to hate for them as Trump. But we're finding out, like dead people are voting, a whole bunch of them, hundreds of dead people are voting. So you have fraud. You have voter fraud. We know that there's no voter suppression. God knows it's the biggest turnout ever, the 2 biggest vote totals ever. Joe Biden, this pathetic, frail, old, bumbling, stumbling candidate, got the most votes ever, 75 million or whatever it is. So there's no voter suppression, but there certainly is voter fraud, and some of it's kind of funny. We've seen Rudy Giuliani go out there and say, so-and-so voted, which is a wonderful thing. He died 6 years ago. So there's hundreds of dead people who died. There's sworn affidavits from postal workers who say they were ordered to backdate ballots to make them legal. Obviously fraud, obviously criminal. And then you have the observers not being allowed to observe, and hundreds of thousands of ballots that were counted, even though no one observed them. They had the legal right to be in there. They were kicked out. Obviously, that is fraud. Obviously, that is criminal. Did you really think Donald Trump was going to go, oh, well, let's let bygones be bygones. Let's just water over the dam, under the bridge. I mean, honestly, you thought Trump was going to say, well, they cheated, but you know what? Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
But what is he? Nobody's kind of pointed this out. Besides tweeting, right? And I know everybody likes to talk about Trump tweets, but they're not putting them on CNN or on MSNBC or on Fox. But what is he doing? He's not doing anything. He's not out there.
Golf. He's playing golf.
That's the thing, but he's not behind a podium talking about this. So why are you bitching about it? You didn't want to cover Trump tweets. You're not covering Trump tweets. So what's the big deal? What is other people are doing is fighting for him. That's fine.
And it's been a week, and these are lawyers, and they're pursuing any legal avenue that they can, which is what you do if you're a presidential candidate who lost and knows there was fraud. I mean, the idea that you could say, just shut up and take it is comical to me, especially when you're talking about the people who tried to undermine Trump for 4 years. He knows it, right? He knows that Hillary made up this fiction about Russian interference. He knows that the special counsel dogged him for 3 years. He knows, by the way, Joe Biden was part of it. Joe Biden was in the room when they came up with the idea to go after General Flynn for the Logan Act. Just another completely made up attempt to submarine the incoming administration. So the guy who did that to him, one of the guys, Obama, of course, was involved in all of it. So one of the guys who did that to him, he's supposed to say, you know what? He just beat me. He wants unity. He wants healing. Let's all just get together. The idea that, and I know they don't mean this, and we'll check with Reimer on this. I know liberals don't actually want Trump to say, you know what? I lost, congratulations, Joe. Come on in. Let's work on that transition. You can't seriously expect Trump to accept it and not fight it when he knows the kind of sleazeballs that fought him every step of the way. The same people are about to move into the White House, and you think he's going to welcome them with open arms? You can't be serious, Reimer. Give me your take on that.
I'm a little late because we were still counting the votes in Arizona. They're still coming in Pennsylvania, so we were doing our due diligence, counting every vote.
Did you go to the cemetery to get the votes from the dead people? Because we know dead people voted. We know there was fraud.
Yeah, my grandfather was a proud Biden supporter this time. Last time he went with Hillary, this time Biden. So we're very happy.
You're generally, I know you're crazy moonbat. You are, a Bernie guy, but you're a generally honest person to me.
Generally honest.
I never feel like you're lying to me.
You don't date me, so
there was voter fraud. The question is how much, correct? We know there was dead people voted. We know all that happened.
So the argument, from what I joined in, and I saw you on Newsmax yesterday as well, I think you're going to be a regular on that channel.
I hope so. How about when Trump buys it and uses it to
I like it, Jerry.
Earth? So I want to
go all in. Your Romney line was good. That woman you're with seemed kind of humorless to me.
By the way, can you imagine today if Trump tweeted out Jerry's clip on Newsmax? Because he tweeted out a bunch of Newsmax clips yesterday. So I'm shocked he didn't like what he saw out of Jerry Callahan yesterday. Apparently.
I'm going to guess, and I was Cullinane and I were talking about this before we started taping here, that was the biggest day, one of the biggest days in Newsmax history. And we might as well get to this. There's a lot of people who are bailing on Fox News. I can't do that. I love Tucker. His show, as I tweeted, is like group therapy. It's like therapeutic for me to watch the first 15, 20 minutes of Tucker every night. He's so freaking good. And I like Laura Ingraham. I like Hannity. I like Greg Gutfeld. I can't bail on Fox, but there are a lot of people. It's a coordinated effort out there because of them calling Arizona early and not pulling it back. And now because of Neil Cavuto cutting off Kayleigh McEnany and saying, I can't show you that, which is so absurd. It's a news channel. And I'll say the same thing, obviously, about CNN. I wouldn't care if Trump went on there and said, Joe Biden, whatever, killed Kennedy, or Joe Biden.
Well, of course you wouldn't care if he said that.
But then you can correct him and refute him and debate him. But when a president is speaking, especially if he's really angry and he's speaking, off the cuff, I don't know if there's a technical term for this, Alex. It's called news. If you're a news network, your job is not to suppress the news. It's to show us the news. Give us the news. You're not going to defend them like refusing to show Trump, or in this case, refusing to show Kayleigh McEnany. Are you?
I think we've seen enough of Kayleigh McEnany over the last year. We don't need to see any more of her. What's the point of this? I don't even know, Jerry. I jumped in here. So the argument has now gone to Trump is such a fighter that we want him to drag his feet when he lost clearly. He didn't lose these states. Like Bush beat Gore by 500 some odd votes in Florida, right? In 2000. Biden right now is leading Trump by 35,000 in Pennsylvania. You think 35,000 dead people voted, Jerry? Come on. This thing, as it turns out, was not close.
But the question, Alex, the question isn't how close it was. The question was there fraud? And you know the answer to that. You know the answer is resounding yes.
There was fraud in Georgia by the Republican Secretary of State, a huge Trumper himself. You agree with Kelly Loeffler and that pathetic David Perdue guy that there's fraud in Georgia, a deep red state.
I have no
Republican
doubt.
administrators. So why? So Brian Kemp, who Democrats screamed about voter suppression all the way in 2018, he has now what? And his Secretary of State did what? They threw it for Biden? Why would they do that?
We will find out.
You don't know because you have no answer.
Correct.
It's bullshit.
We will find out. But the idea is not, the question is not how close it was. The question is, was there fraud? And the answer is, of course there was. We've seen it, dozens of examples. And here's the talking point from the Democrats, and apparently you're going to run with it, that it's no evidence, the Boston Globe, baseless accusations.
Yeah, I don't see any evidence besides Breitbart clips that you tweet out. I mean, give me some actual evidence that would stand up in a court.
Alex, it's been a week. No, it's not been a week. It's been 3 days since Biden was declared the winner by the media. So
these votes, though, Michigan, Biden won by 147,000 votes in Michigan. You really think there was that much fraud? 150,000 votes, Jerry? This is sad.
Hey, can I answer that? Can I answer that?
Sure. Answer
that.
No,
I don't think it's going to, I said it yesterday. I'll say it again today. No, I don't think he's going to win Michigan. No, I don't think there was 145,000 in Michigan. No, he's not going to overturn that. He probably won't overturn any state. I don't know what, Arizona's down to 11,595. That's Georgia, 15,000 in Arizona. Can he win those? Maybe, probably not. Biden's ahead by 275,000 votes in the 6 swing states, the 6 that he's probably spending the most time and effort and energy to challenge. But the question is not how close they are, Alex, was there fraud? And you have to be honest and say, if there is fraud, of course he has the right to expose it, to pursue it, and to sue. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, because real tough guys hide behind lawyers. That's what they always do. You've been saying that for years.
I'm sorry. I gave you too much credit. You're no different than Anderson Cooper or Joy Behar or Whoopi Goldberg. You and Whoopi.
Wow.
Whoopi.
I like Whoopi.
Reimer. That's who you are.
You don't care. I've been called worse.
You don't care that crimes were committed in these states.
I explained
to Shea today, and I'll say it again. They weren't going to let it happen again. 4 years ago, Trump beat Hillary by 78,000 votes across the swing states. He won Michigan, he won Wisconsin, he won Arizona. It was very close. He was their worst nightmare. He wiped Obama's record off the books. He just dismantled Obama's legacy, and they hated him. You know that. You hated him with a blind rage. They hated him. So they weren't going to let him win again. And it was going to be close. In some ways, they did it legally. They got this huge turnout. They got the media, big tech got behind him and censored any negative news about Biden. It was an effort across the board to knock him off, and it succeeded. They also used illegal means. They got dead people to vote. They backdated ballots. They got mail-in balloting, which they used the excuse of COVID, and they got mail-in balloting, which was, of course, going to help Democrats.
Because they voted without going to the polls on election day. Yes, they're right. It did.
They got early voting. They made
Hold on. But Jerry, Republicans were allowed to do mail-in voting too. They just chose to vote on election day, which is fine. But
like it says in the Constitution, I went to the polling place on election day and voted. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Every single thing they came up with was designed to make it easier
to vote. Right. In a democracy. Easier. Terrible.
Right. So you get lazy people, or you get people who don't even care. You get ballot harvesters that go around the neighborhood, grab all those mail-in ballots, make sure they vote for their guy Biden. We've seen it. James O'Keefe has a bunch of examples of voter fraud on video. And you can deny it all you want. It happened. It happened. So you think the guy you saw, that Donald Trump over the last 4 years, was just going to say, well, they cheated, but what the heck? I'll go quietly into that good night. I mean, you can't be serious. You can't really blame him, honestly blame him for what he's doing right now.
I mean, I've said from the time we were on Kirk and Callahan that Trump was never going to leave office, and I was mocked, and I turned out to be correct. Of course, anyone with a brain knew that he was never going to concede. I'm not surprised by this. No, but it's bullshit. It's silly. It's a temper tantrum.
So I don't remember you saying the same thing about Hillary, which she completely made up this Russian collusion hoax. Oh,
okay,
you bought it. That's right.
I love that that's been said, and McConnell said that yesterday, that Democrats didn't accept the election results for 4 years. They didn't, really? So Barack Obama blocked the Trump transition team. I mean, didn't Trump go to the White House just 2 days after winning? So I agree. Democrats whined and screamed and complained for 4 years, but they didn't block the presidential administration. Trump did take office.
Well, that's in 2.5 months, so he hasn't stopped Biden from taking office.
The transition happened immediately. Barack Obama hosted Donald Trump at the White House 2 days after the election. 2 days.
Right. And at the same time, Obama and Biden were attending meetings where they were devising ways to undermine Trump. We know that now. I mean, Obama knew Hillary made up the whole Russian thing as revenge. He knew it and he ran with it. And they said, we can get General Flynn on the Logan Act, because he made some phone calls to foreign leaders during the transition.
Yeah, but General Flynn but Mike Flynn went to jail for lying to the FBI. So I mean,
he didn't go to jail.
Well, he should have.
Oh, please. He you know what he did? The same thing Biden did right now. Right now, Ben Rhodes said yesterday, admitted that Biden is calling foreign leaders, which is a violation of the Logan Act.
So you care about the Logan Act? You've always been a big Logan Act guy.
No, I didn't care at all about it until it was used against Trump and his team to undermine them, to discredit them. The same people who did that are now demanding that Trump drop everything and welcome Biden into the Oval Office. And
as mine and your good friend, and Dave's good friend in particular, Kirk Minahan, tweeted the other day, a huge right winger like you, Jerry, the snowflakey of the far right is absurd with this.
I would love to. Okay, let's do that before we get to Biden's day one agenda. I'm really excited about that. Now, I'm sure you are too.
That's good.
Let's get to that. So if just take me as an example, forget Trump. We know Trump would do it. So if I say, I see thousands of examples of voter fraud. Dead people voted. They backdated ballots. They threw Trump votes away. They wouldn't let observers in. I see all that. And if I say, like Mitt Romney, or real tough guys like Mitt Romney or Jeb Bush, I say, you know what? He lost fair and square. Trump should just give in and give up and move on. That makes me a man. That makes me someone with dignity and class. If I say, screw this, these people cheated, I don't care if it. Hold on. Let me finish my question. If I say, I don't care if it swings the election, I think we should expose these liars and cheaters. That makes me a snowflake?
Yes.
I don't understand why your two competing views can't meet in the middle, and him come out and say, I lost the election. We'll start this process that Alex is talking about, but voter fraud is real. I'm going to fight it. Here's why. But why can't you meet in the middle and do that?
It's a good question. You know what? You can.
There you go, Dave.
But it's too soon. It's too soon. It's too soon.
It still hurts. It still hurts.
Emotions are too raw. Emotions are raw, and
emotions are raw. Trump went golfing this weekend, and Mike Pence is on vacation. I mean, so how seriously are they taking this?
But this isn't. He went golfing because this isn't his job. This is Rudy Giuliani's job.
Oh, well, I feel like we're in good hands then.
Yes. I mean, I love this idea that Rudy's not credible. Rudy's one of the great prosecutors in U.S. history.
Great prosecutor. Do you think he's lost
what Rudy has done? Do you understand who Rudy is? He's a
I do.
bulldog. He's a lawyer and a prosecutor.
He had a convicted sex offender make a statement the other day in support of these voter fraud allegations. So yes, in front of the landscape. Are you going to visit Four Seasons Landscaping next time you go to Pennsylvania?
You know what?
A great spot.
I have to defer to the voice of reason here, Cullinane. He's right. Trump will allow the transition to proceed. Not yet. But he will pursue these crimes that were committed against him And who could ever blame him after what they did for? I mean, let's forget the Russian hoax, which is ridiculous. And I mean, I know the media outlets. You read the Globe or the New York Times, and they lie to you every day. So you're cool with that. But forget that. They impeached him. I believe he was the third president ever to get impeached. They impeached him because he said we should look into the corruption of this company that hired Hunter Biden. We should look into that.
Jerry, they impeached him because he held. They impeached him because he held military aid.
Jerry.
Well, because I'm trying to make my point.
That's your answer.
Because they impeached him because he withheld military aid from Ukraine.
Oh, right.
That is why he was.
He gave them missiles to fight the Russians. Obama sent them like pillows, withhold military aid. He said we should look into the corruption. We now know the corruption was rampant. We all know.
We all know. Yeah, he's looking into it. Many people are saying.
I'm going to go all Dino on you one at a time. Let me finish. So he said, look into this corruption, which was rampant. We know Biden. We saw Biden on videotape say you must fire this prosecutor. So what Trump said was look into that. That's impeachable. That's
while
absurd.
Withholding aid from an ally.
That's absurd. Did they get the money?
Eventually, because he was hand was forced. Yeah, eventually.
So
and impeachment. Impeachment did nothing. Impeachment helped Trump. So you should. What's the big deal?
So, but these are the people we're talking about. These are diabolical people.
Who's diabolical?
We're talking about. Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff.
Mean.
You're really proud to have him on your side?
No, I don't like Nancy Pelosi at all. I think House Democrats had a terrible showing on Tuesday. No, I'm not a big Nancy Pelosi fan.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It was a good day.
So, okay, here's my question now, and this has been brought up. I'm curious to get your answer on it. So, my turn. You talk, I talk. So,
okay.
So the Senate results were legit. The House results were legit. These were on the same ballots as the presidential results. Why? I don't understand how the presidential results are fraudulent, but the other ones are
well, some of them are challenged. John James, speaking of Dino, John James in Michigan is challenging. But I just went over this, Alex. Do I have to do it again?
You do, because they're on the same ballot. So the dead people only vote for president, and they blanked everything else.
They're not.
Like, how did that happen?
They're not. There's 500,000 ballots that only voted for president, which never happens. It's completely unprecedented that number of ballots were just had Biden checked. No,
500,000 where? Across the country or in these?
In the battleground states. I can get you the number exactly if you want. In the 6 battleground states, I believe there was 450,000 in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. 450,000 ballots with only Biden's name checked. Very suspicious, not illegal on its face, obviously, but that's the result, I think, of ballot harvesting, where they just get all these mail-in ballots that people who didn't vote probably, buy them a lunch and get the ballot, check Biden, throw it in the hopper, and you're good to go. That's another example of the fraud that was perpetrated. Yeah, they don't care about down ballot elections or congressmen or even senators. All they wanted to do was defeat Trump.
So they'd rather have Joe Biden handicapped by a Republican-controlled Senate.
They don't care. The whole goal, the whole effort was designed for one thing: stop Trump.
Jerry, this is silly. I don't understand why. Trump lost the race. And he had a great showing. He got 71 million votes, but he lost.
And you know what? Those 71 people, you know what those 71 million people have in common, Alex Reimer? They all want him to fight on. Every single one of them wants him to fight on. They don't want him dropping this. They don't want him conceding yet. They know they got screwed here, and they want him to fight. That's why they like him to begin with. It's because he's not Mitt Romney. He's not John McCain. He's not Jeb Bush. He's not one of these establishment swamp creatures. He's fighting for them, not for him, for them. That's the way to look at it. So he will fight on. Sooner or later, your guy's gonna take office. I hope you're excited. Hopefully he's not quite gone mentally, cognitively January 20th, when he makes the his acceptance speech. Hopefully he doesn't invent too many words or lose his way, or hopefully his teeth don't fall out or his pants don't fall down. It's going to be kind of entertaining watching Joe Biden take office. But here's his day one agenda. Tell me what excites you the most. He's going to, by executive order, get the U.S. back in the Paris Climate Accords. That's exciting. Probably cost.
I know Climate Callahan likes that. That's a good one.
Get us back in the Climate Accords, which would probably cost $100 million. Get us back in the WHO, the World Health Organization, which we've already learned is a corrupt organization, a puppet of China. He wants to get us back in that. I believe that'll cost us, I don't know what it is, $50 million. He's going to get rid of the Muslim travel ban, which isn't really a Muslim travel ban, only affects 7% of the Muslims in the world. It just does not allow people in who aren't screened in the home countries like Somalia, these lawless places. They can't get on planes and come here. I'm going to get rid of that, making it easier for Muslim terrorists to attack us. And, of course, a national mask mandate. Which one of those things excites you the most that your guy's going to implement on day one?
Mask up. We're returning to the international order. This is it. We're back, baby. The U.S. is back.
And you're excited to be back in the climate?
I'm excited to be back in the climate accord. It's been very effective, and it'll be more effective.
Can I ask you guys a serious question about masks? Because I was walking around the city yesterday, and the whole mask mandate is stupid because everyone is already wearing masks. And governors and local officials, mayors, they're all they're not necessarily enforcing it, but they're certainly ordering people to wear masks. But when I run or walk, I have a mask, but I don't wear it if I'm outside because I'm alone and it's stupid. But why do I need to wear a mask, Alex, if you're wearing a mask? Like if you're wearing a mask, you're protected, right? So why do you care if I wear one?
Well, because if that's the attitude, then nobody will wear them. I mean, you need.
No, it isn't. No, because you wear a mask to protect yourself. So if you want to protect yourself, you can. It's like wearing a helmet.
Protecting others.
When I go out my Harley, I don't wear a helmet. Why do you care if I wear a helmet?
I always knew you rolled in your Harley. That was the Jerry look. That's not the car you drive. Jerry drives like to the MAGA people there. Salty Earth Callahan drives like an Audi. So
to be honest with you, I do. I have a scooter, a motor scooter, like a Vespa, like a knockoff Vespa. You know that.
I do, yeah.
And I have a helmet, but I don't wear it. Screw that. Helmet laws suck. That's what I always say. But if I don't wear, I don't wear a helmet on my scooter. Why do you care?
That big noggin of yours, you don't protect it with a helmet? Terrible.
I wear a helmet when I ride my bicycle, but not when I ride my motor scooter. Figure that out. But anyway. If it's like a helmet, am I missing something? If you wear a mask, you're protecting yourself. If your loved one, your significant other, your kids, whatever, wear a mask, good. Why do you care if I do?
Because it's about protecting. It actually is about protecting others. Because as we know, you have these aerosol droplets that go out from your mouth, and the mask covers the aerosol droplets. So if you're maskless, your droplets are going everywhere. Could be going in my eye, my ear, my hair. I don't know. I don't know where you're going. I want everyone masked up. Keep the aerosol dry. I mean, yesterday in the grocery store, I was sneezing, and good thing I had my mask on. Then my snot was all over my face. It was great. Thank goodness.
I'll see if I'll get some answers from our commenters on Facebook Live, because I seriously don't understand that. Like, I get dirty looks even when I'm running, because most people are running with masks, biking with masks, out alone on the river, on the waterfront, wind whipping, and they're masked up, and that's fine. That's fine. But why do they care if I'm not masked up? It doesn't, not care. They're angry. Like, I understand that they think we should all submit and, follow whatever guidelines we get from our tyrannical governor. But why does it upset people? Because my droplets might go in their ears? That's your answer?
Yeah, hair. You don't know what's going on. I mean, it's just respect. It's respect. We're in a pandemic, and if you're around other people, like when I'm running, I have my buff, my gaiter, and I don't wear it when I'm not around people. But when I'm running around Castle Island, I did it the other day, and I see someone, I will put it up my nose and put it down. I mean, it's a little annoying, but that's fine, Jerry. You know me. I've always been about the community at large. So whatever makes people happy.
I mocked a woman on a Boston Herald reporter.
I did see
Twitter,
that. Are you okay? Have
because
you recovered from that beatdown yet? Or
he had a mask on, and I say this about anyway. You see it on every news channel. CNN has them. Fox even has reporters, and they're masked up, and they're doing a report like this. I'm going, but you're not near anyone. Take it off for 2 minutes so I can understand you, and you look like a normal human being.
Well, that's a funny thing. I mean, you look at like all these like Senate hearings we've had the last couple months. Like a lot of the Democrats, the Republicans are just mouth breathers, breathing their disgusting air everywhere. But the Democrats will wear a mask while they're not talking. But when they are talking and the actual droplets are coming out, they'll take off the mask, which I think defeats the purpose because you're still in an enclosed space. So a lot of this, as we've said ad nauseum, is arbitrary. But I mean, my viewpoint is if it makes you safe, fine. If it makes you feel safe, fine.
My viewpoint is if you're talking about one-off situations, like you walking somewhere, Jerry, that's a one-off that I'd call you an asshole for a one-off. You can't just suck it up and wear a mask. Right. Versus the grocery store kid who's bagging groceries, he has to wear that fucking thing for 8 hours. You know what I mean? Like that's a pain in the ass.
I know,
like, you know, like he's got it. He's got a problem, but that sucks.
I guess you get used to it, but I mean, the whole thing with the NFL is funny too. Like you got 50 players without masks, breathing and spitting all over, sweating all over each other. But if a coach, lets it slip below his nose, he gets fined $250,000. That is just posturing. There's no science behind it. It's like the curfew we have now in Massachusetts. This drove me nuts the other day. I mean, obviously, I can't stand our governor. He's a tyrant. I can't stand our mayor. He's an idiot.
What do you mean? He blanked the presidential ballot. He took a strong stand.
What courage? The Republican, who probably can't give you a single issue on which he disagrees with Trump. But, he just hates Trump because he's supposed to hate Trump because all his friends in Massachusetts and his friends at the Globe and his friends at Harvard hate Trump. So he has to hate Trump. But anyway, you were probably out in this Saturday, because you were celebrating. Biden was declared the winner.
We were drinking mimosas early.
So Saturday night at 9:30, it was 65 degrees, and every restaurant, which they're all equipped with outdoor sections, they all have balconies and patios and tables, and that's how they make their money now.
Correct.
Was packed. North End, Faneuil Hall, they were packed with outdoor diners and drinkers, and they all had to kick them out.
Yes.
Because this a-hole governor of ours came up with this 9:30 closing time for restaurants because science. That's why, because science. And then they all just wandered around the streets in all these restaurants that are struggling because of this governor, because of his orders. We're forced to just kick out these customers that were having a great time at 9:30 at night. And tell me how that stops the virus, how that affects,
as we've discussed before, the virus is especially lethal late at night. So you have to bunker down and stay in.
Yeah, which I understand. You can't answer me. You don't have an answer. No one does.
I've never defended these stupid mask mandates and curfews. I mean, we've had infectious disease experts at Harvard say that, when you're with close proximity of people, wear a mask. But if you're outside alone, there's no need to wear a mask. It's stupid. Nobody believes it. And as a result, it just, it propels cynicism amongst people. And I would also say it's very classist. Like if you are a wealthy person like yourself, Jerry, and you have your own backyard, you can stand out, breathe the fresh air, no mask. But if you live in the inner city and have no backyard space of your own, you always have to wear a mask outside so you can't breathe the fresh air?
That's racist.
It is.
I'm with you.
It's very classist.
I get my health news from Michael Felger and Tony Maserati, who told me yesterday that you have to close bars at 9:30 because people get loose as the night goes on. It gets later and later, and people get drunker and drunker. So you got to close at 9:30 to protect yourself from the blackout drunk people like me, like I would be in that situation.
I don't understand. What is it?
Jim Murray went on this huge tirade about how ridiculous it is that they have to close at 9:30, and that was their response, is that people get drunker. And he had no rebuttal back to that, as if we have to give a shit about the one or two blackout drunk people.
Okay, help me out. I'm not that bright. How does drunkenness
Well,
spread the virus.
because you let down your guard, you're hugging people, kissing people,
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
drunk.
you. That's not me. That's you.
Oh. But
That's
my
just
thing,
so stupid. And
my
it's
thing would
typical.
be like, but what I wonder what bar I'd love to hang out with Felger and Maz these days because I don't know what bar. I mean, we know I'd love to hang out with Felger, but I don't know what bar these guys are going to. They're all closed bars. It's just restaurants.
It's so idiotic. And you're right. It's classist. And you know what else? Guys like Baker and Marty Walsh, they're so disingenuous because the thing they don't care about small business owners. They don't care about blue collar workers. Who the hell do you think they're putting out of work when they close bars and restaurants? I mean, waiters, waitresses, bartenders, managers of these small businesses. They don't spend a second thinking about them. They just say, screw them. Science, screw them. I want to look like I care about the general public. They don't care about. I walk around the city all the time and run around, and the number of restaurants just gone. I'll say it again, is just disgusting. It's disgusting, and it's worse in New York. You have this tyrant Cuomo and this piece of garbage De Blasio. I don't know if you saw this the other day, Alex. I mentioned it yesterday. It's one of the most disturbing videos you will see during the celebration. I mean, there were tens of thousands of people in the streets celebrating Biden being declared the winner, and they
victory over Clemson.
And they busted into this pottery shop in Brooklyn because, as we know, Orthodox Jews spread the virus much more than atheists. And Cuomo and De Blasio are cracking down on Jewish people, Jewish businesses. And they show 10 cops show up at this pottery store because they heard a rumor that the woman was giving a pottery class, whatever that is, to people on how to make pots.
Oh, you know what that is. What do you mean, whatever that is? You know what a pottery class is.
So how does that, whatever. They bust this woman, and she says they've targeted Jewish businesses, and they have. And there's video, and it's literally, a few miles away. De Blasio and Schumer are celebrating with these mobs, with these marauding mobs throughout the city, and cops are being spent, time is being spent busting a pottery shop owner because she supposedly was breaking the rules. She wasn't, by the way. There was no class going on, but she's been doing interviews, and she's great. She's just saying, this is insane. We are dying here. She's a single mother. And that's the kind of people. And you know what? Cuomo, not De Blasio, Cuomo, his approval rating is still probably 80%, and all you idiot Democrats will vote for him and support him.
Nobody likes De Blasio. Nobody. No constituency.
Everybody hates De Blasio. That's the one thing we can all agree on. I'll tell you what. I want to mention this again too because it was a big deal yesterday when Neil Cavuto, who I don't even know why he's there. I see his ratings stink. His show's boring. He's been on Fox forever. It's time to move on from Neil Cavuto. And he shows a press conference with Kayleigh McEnany. And he makes the decision to cut away from it because he didn't like what she was saying. Now, I don't know if you have it, Cullinane, but let's watch what Neil Cavuto, how he decided to handle, Kayleigh McEnany, who is the press secretary for the president yesterday.
Illegal vote.
Well, I just think we have to be very clear. She's charging, the other side is welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal voting. Unless she has more details to back that up, I can't in good countenance continue showing you this. I want to make sure that maybe they do have something to back that up, but that's an explosive charge to make, that the other side is effectively rigging and cheating. If she does bring proof of that, of course, we'll take you back. So far, she has started saying right at the outset, welcoming fraud, welcoming illegal voting. Not so fast. We'll have more after this.
First of all, he should be fired right there. That is a fireable offense. The damage he did to Fox News brand, he did what CNN does. He said, I don't think, or what big tech does. He says, I don't like what she just said. So you can't hear it. You can't see it. You let her finish. And if you want to refute it, fine, do it. You're a news network. But that pompous a-hole says, I don't want to let you hear what the press secretary of the president has to say. I have one suggestion for Neil Cavuto. How about you read up, you clown? There's hundreds of examples of voter fraud.
Well, but how come Kayleigh McEnany didn't cite any of them in that press conference?
Oh, how do you know? How do you know? She
wasn't at the time. That's why he cut away.
I've seen these press conferences. They're citing hundreds of examples, of voter fraud. That and what he did right there was send people, loyal Fox viewers, to Newsmax to see me.
To see you, yeah.
Yes, just before I came on the 5 o'clock show.
I actually think Neil Cavuto has a pretty substantial role outside of anchoring that time slot. I think he has a big role in Fox and Fox Business, like a managing editor or something like that. He has a big role.
The rumor is Paul Ryan, he's on the board of directors. Murdoch's sons, Lachlan and the other guy, they don't like Trump. James, they don't like Trump. They don't like the Republicans, so they're pulling the strings. But I'm telling you, people are pissed. There's like organized effort to boycott Fox, which I can't countenance. What kind of douche you have to be to say I can't countenance that? Just saying that makes you seem like a douche.
I actually feel like the strategy is just like all discombobulated here. Like, why does Kayleigh McEnany need to even be talking about this? They announced yesterday that they were going to basically keep the campaign going to fight voter fraud on the outside. Why does she have to even address this? Like it's almost like we're back on the campaign trail, but we're not, right? It's a completely separate issue. She should have just pushed it off and like said, "Go ask them." Right? I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. They're two separate.
She's the spokesman for the president, and
but Dave's right. There's no separation.
The campaign to become president is no longer in effect, right? So now it's the campaign to fight voter fraud. Two completely separate issues that the president of the United States, in his role, shouldn't necessarily have to be. Yeah, go ahead.
Dave's right. But there's no separation between the Trump campaign apparatus and the government, which is why, Dave, you're right. Hatch Act violations everywhere.
That's what I'm going to blog about it today. I'm going to write a blog all about it.
I'm going to enlighten you two guys that you're Reimer. You used to be sort of a journalist. You write. You're a hardworking guy. You write for a number of publications. You're on the radio.
I am. The Packers didn't get Aaron Rodgers any help at the deadline, and they're going to regret it.
We want more speech, not less speech. The reason people are so outraged is Cavuto just did what Jack Dorsey does, what Mark Zuckerberg does. He censored speech. He made decision for you. I don't think your sensitive ears can hear what these charges, these explosive charges from Kayleigh McEnany. That's not your job, asshole. Your job is you're a news network. You're supposed to show the news and then let people decide. It's so arrogant. It's like, I'm your overseer. Let me decide what you can hear. He did what CNN and MSNBC does. He did what Twitter does. And that has people outraged. And the only reason I can't get on board is because Tucker is so damn good. He went after big tech again last night brilliantly. And the outrage isn't going away. I realize your guy's going to take office and it's going to empower big tech. It's going to empower Dorsey to continue to censor opinions, views he doesn't like. Hopefully, the Senate remains in Republican hands, and hopefully they continue to pursue some some action against big tech. The Section 230, they repeal that. It has to happen. I mean, you got to be, even though he's on your side, Alex, you have to be disgusted with the actions of these big tech tyrants.
I am. I mean, right now on Facebook, the 4 top trending stories are all from Breitbart and Daily Wire with this voter fraud nonsense. So I am upset. Facebook is once again a breeding ground for right-wing conspiracy theories.
Oh, yes. If you say QAnon, we're done. I'm done right now. If you
well, we have a QAnon congresswoman finally. You should get her on.
Yeah, and you have an anti-Semitic, a fanatic in Ilhan Omar on your side, and she's much more prominent.
Got more support.
All right. Tucker also called out Don Lemon, mocked Don Lemon last night brilliantly because Don Lemon cried. Van Jones put on the performance of a lifetime. He gets an Oscar for his performance, weeping when he found out Trump lost. But Don Lemon, a news anchor, started crying, getting choked up. And then they go to Tucker and he just says, "You are a child."
Don already congratulated Joe Biden as the counting was still underway. And as they were doing that, The media were not hard at work verifying the integrity of the election, of the democracy they so deeply cherish. They weren't interviewing the poll workers who signed those affidavits we just told you about, which are real. Instead, here's what they're doing.
How you feeling?
I almost can't talk right now because of the emotion. Everyone is welcome under this tent. We don't care who you are. We don't care if you voted for us or not. You're all part of this American experiment. I was so overwhelmed to hear that. I don't care what people think, if they think I'm biased or not, if whatever, I don't care. And so I'm very emotional. So when you ask me how I'm feeling right now, I'm sorry. That's all I can tell you. This is how I feel right now. I am so happy to have this platform to be able to do this. I may not have it after this, but I really don't care. I am so happy.
I don't care. Take it from someone who does this gig for a living. If you can't keep your emotions in check to think clearly, you are a child, go do something else.
That's so perfect. You're a child. Do something else. I love the idea that he might not have that platform anymore after he spent 4 years hating Trump, now celebrating the end of Trump. Oh, yeah. I'm sure Jeff Zucker is going to can you, Don Lemon. You stuck your hands down a bartender's pants, allegedly, and they didn't can you. So I think you're safe. But that is a child right there, Don Lemon, along with the rest of the children we heard from, like Van Jones and Joy Behar and Whoopi. Can we hear from Whoopi too, Culinary? Because this is a good one. This is a hilarious.
If you are not sure that you're comfortable with Joe Biden, do what we did. Find things and then take it to the law. And if the law says it's something to look at it. But from now on, suck it up. Grow the pear for him that he can't grow for himself.
What's wrong with that? That's basically what I've been saying. Suck it up, grow a pair, stop whining about Neil Cavuto.
She just said take it to the law. Take it to the law? That's what they're doing, Alex. They're taking it to the law. I'm not even sure what that means. Take it to the law. She's so stupid and just so pathetic. The whole show, I can't believe people watch those morons.
The View's a great show. What's wrong? They argue, they fight. It's crazy. The View's great.
I gotta watch. You know what I should watch? I just see cuts every day from Joy Behar and Whoopi and Sonny, and don't see much of Meghan McCain. Is she back from maternity leave, or is she still out? I don't even know. But
I don't know. All I know is John McCain swung Arizona to Biden, so we have to thank the McCains.
His widow did, right? John McCain, who was supported by the 70 million people that vote for Trump, and what did he do from the grave? Or his widow did, stuck him in the back, shivved them all.
Good.
She is a traitor to the cause. All the people that were loyal to him fought for him.
Oh, come on. So she's supposed to support the guy who's done nothing but belittle her now deceased husband for 5 years? I mean, come on, Jerry.
Well, you know what her deceased husband did for him, right? To him, right? He sent his aide over to Europe to get the Steele dossier, passed it on to the FBI, spread the lies, tried to get Trump impeached. That's what McCain did.
Even though he voted, I mean, I know he had the healthcare vote, but otherwise he voted with Trump a lot. I mean, they agreed on most things.
Agrees with most of the issues. By the way, since we're here, we're covering the pathetic mainstream media and all the corruption and lies, which are not going to end. Let's get to a couple other guys. Jake Tapper, who's, oh God, I could easily just smack him. But Jake Tapper, a journalist, tweets, and encouraging, obviously, Republicans to concede. And he essentially said, you should concede for the good of the country and for your future job prospects. So the people in the administration, not Donald Trump, but everyone else, like Kayleigh McEnany and all the rest of the people in the administration who are part of this effort to expose the voter fraud. A journalist says, if you don't concede, 3 days after the race was called, you might not get another job. That should chill everybody, that a journalist, supposed journalist, joins with others like AOC in saying we need to make an enemies list of everybody who works with Trump and make sure they don't work again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, without a doubt, these people have traded the country. They've totally aligned themselves with this authoritarian boob. And as a result, they should be exiled. They shouldn't get cushy positions at think tanks in Harvard, which they've gotten, by the way. I agree. Absolutely.
Why?
Sorry.
Why again? Why? I mean, they're working for a Republican president. There's no
Not a Republican president. They're working for the worst president we've ever had.
Okay, you know, I like to hear this. I did this with Sap. I'll do it with you. Why is that? Why is he the worst president ever? I've heard Biden say, why?
Because we have a 230,000 plus dead of a pandemic that could have been curtailed. We have an economic depression. Never mind just the. Hold on, I'm prosecuting the case.
Okay,
never mind just the atmosphere we have with
you
domestic
sound
violence.
really stupid. Obviously, with Biden or Hillary, we'd had many more dead. What Trump did limited the death toll. We know that. Fauci himself, St. Fauci, even said it. You don't come up. I mean, Joe Biden, that's a good example. I'm glad you mentioned that. Joe Biden, who wants unity and healing now, a week ago, said Trump murdered 230,000 people.
So he was running a campaign. See, you people are such little babies. I mean, that was during a presidential campaign. I mean, Donald Trump has
I don't
called.
even know what to say. Why does that make someone a baby when you
you're
point
little
out?
Fucking children. Donald Trump has called everybody every name in the book for his whole life, and in the minute somebody levels an on-the-ball critique, they're being mean-spirited. I mean, it's a presidential.
I don't care what he says, but you expect unity and healing?
No, I don't want any unity. I don't want any healing. Biden says that crap because he has no actual policies of his own. I'm not a unity guy. I don't want healing. Nobody should heal. But I mean, yeah, but Biden say that because that's what they all say. He's an old politician. They all say stuff like that. It's empty. It's vapid.
Then we agree on that. Biden's a fool. All right.
No, there's going to be no healing. And the reason why, to go back to what Dave was saying a few minutes ago, like Trump is still running this campaign apparatus. Jerry, you're a smart guy. This is all a grift. He needs to keep his family and buddies on the payroll for another 4 years so they can have rallies and all that stuff. So this is what this whole recount thing is about. It's just the start of another grift. Give us money so we can sustain this con. That's what this is about.
What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're talking about. You're talking about Trump or Biden? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Trump. All this stuff. He's continuing to run his campaign. Yes, they're begging people for donations, sending out threatening. Have you gotten a threatening email from Eric Trump and Laura Trump saying that you're betraying them because you're not giving them more money for this recount? They are begging for money. They need money to keep this lifestyle. So it's all a grift. It's all for show.
Stop. You know, I like you.
Yes.
I like having you on here, but you sound like an idiot now. But
why?
Because Eric Trump needs money to maintain his lifestyle.
They need money. They need jobs. They need money. Yes.
No, they have jobs. They have a big company, and they'll go back to that company.
Why don't they go back to running it then and leave us all alone?
They will.
Okay,
in January, they will. I don't even know what you're talking about. They need money to maintain a lifestyle.
They do.
Anyway,
2 minutes ago, Trump just tweeted out, "We will win!" All caps! Exclamation point! 2 minutes ago.
Does it have that little censor thing from Twitter?
Not yet. Not yet. No.
Wow, he hasn't tweeted without a censorship in a long time. All right, a couple more things before we get to Monday Night Football, and what a game we saw. A couple more mainstream media creeps to mention here. John Meacham. Do you know who John Meacham is, Alex?
Oh, I do. The great historian. Yeah, of course.
Historian. What a sleaze. I never liked this guy. He's such a sleazebag. He's helping the Biden campaign, or helping Biden. He's a speechwriter for Joe Biden. So he wrote the speech that Biden gave Saturday after he was declared the winner. And then he went on NBC and talked about the speech, like critiqued it. And I believe MSNBC, of course, they're not firing him because they're all sleaze, but they're I don't know, suspending him or something. They're punishing him in some form because obviously that's unethical. Obviously, John Meacham's just another sleazy swamp.
Hold on, Jerry. What do you call Sean Hannity fielding nightly phone calls?
Can you ever just focus on what I'm talking about at the moment?
Well, I'm saying because what's good for the
Sean Hannity.
I'm saying what's good for the news. Jerry, these are all cable news partisan hacks. Newsflash. Where have you been the last 25 years?
You're not even listening.
I'm not. It's because it's dumb. John Meacham? Who cares about John Meacham?
Hey, you're not even listening. You're not even listening.
Primetime lineup have been advising Trump for 4 years, which is fine.
John Meacham is a sleazy swamp creature who wrote a speech. Let me finish. You can save your thoughts. Who wrote a speech for Biden and then went on TV and critiqued the speech. If you're young and you're, thinking about getting into the journalism field or more, there's a word for that. It's called unethical. Okay, that is unethical. John Meacham is unethical. But we'll move on since
Sure.
Alex somehow.
What do you call then? What do you call Hannity? I mean, who?
What about Hannity? Okay, let's do it. What does Hannity have to do?
He's one of Trump's top advisors.
That's not true, but
not true. So he doesn't call Trump all the time.
Of course he does. Why not?
So he's on the air then. Shouldn't he disclose that? Shouldn't he talk about those
all the time? Are you kidding me? Interviews him all the time. Sean Hannity could be the least unethical. He doesn't pretend to be anything he's not.
Well, neither does John Meacham. He pretends to be a liberal hack. When does he not?
I just explain. Okay, you're not listening. Forget it, Alex. Forget it.
What?
I just explained to you what John Meacham did. I mean, I know you went to BU, which is a clown college that gave AOC an economics degree. I know that you haven't really been educated, but you think a guy who's a historian writes a speech for a politician, then goes on TV and critiques that speech without revealing his connection to the guy, that you don't think that's unethical?
On MSNBC, no, because they all have connections to the Biden administration. Just like on Fox, they're all Trump stooges. I mean, no, I don't think that's a big problem. No, I don't.
Okay, good.
I don't.
Great.
I'm not. Sorry, if I'm looking for cogent, down the middle analysis on Joe Biden's acceptance speech, I'm not turning to MSNBC. I assume everybody there.
John Meacham presents himself like whatever you just said, cogent down the middle analysis. That's how he presents himself.
He does. Oh, I don't buy it. I don't think many do.
Yes, and he's one of those guys who obviously is respected and intelligent and dignified. Like Tubin,
right? Exactly.
Tubin.
Yes, very respected.
You haven't done what Tubin's done on any of these Zoom calls with me, have you?
Well, that's why I was late today.
Oh, well, at least you weren't doing it on camera like Jeffrey Tubin. Quickly, before we get to the Monday Night Football game, I think I don't know what you call the people who are left running the show Jeopardy. They've yet to decide on who will replace Alex Trebek, who died at the age of 80, who looked like he was about 60. Even though he had pancreatic cancer, he held up pretty well. He did his job till a week before he died. Everyone's waiting to find out who wants it. And quietly, George Stephanopoulos is starting to lobby for the job, according to my sources. That would be the end of Jeopardy within 3 days. People who like Jeopardy, follow Jeopardy, are not going to buy George Stephanopoulos, this corrupt little troll, as replacement for Trebek. Do you think that's a good idea as a fellow little troll?
I wish I was as rich as George Stephanopoulos.
No kidding. He makes like $15 million a year. This Clinton toady.
I mean, how much did Trebek get paid per year, though?
Oh, you can't even imagine. I'll bet you he made 50 million a year.
Yeah, with syndication.
Like Judge Judy.
These are crazy shows. Honestly, I mean, I think it's very sad Trebek has passed, but I never watched Jeopardy and never had much of an interest in it. I'm sure.
Really? I did, but I wasn't like fanatical like
reportedly $10 million a year, which is the deal of the century for whoever owns that friggin' production house or whatever. But you can't replace Alex Trebek, by the way. You can't play reruns.
Well, you think they should end the show?
No, they should play reruns. Who gives a shit? Like, I don't know. You just literally cannot replace the man. The only rational option, and by the way, this works in primarily every situation where somebody has been a long-standing host, play-by-play in sports, same thing. You have to find a no-namer that has talent, right? Like it cannot be a known entity.
True. You can't have a guy who everyone knows already, just someone stepping in, but there'll be people who want the gig. It definitely made more than 10 million. Didn't he own a part of the show or whatever? I mean, there's no way he
said 10 million per year in one of the articles I just read. So I don't know. Yeah, he says net worth was 75 million. I don't know. It all seems low to me.
Hey, my favorite guy is Maury Povich. I've never watched his show. He makes I forget what the number was, like 25 million a year. He works 2 days. He tapes 5 shows. Like he starts and he doesn't even do full days. Like Tuesday afternoon, he goes in and does like 2 or 3 shows and then stays the night. And then Wednesday morning tapes 2 or 3 more. You know what he does the rest of the week? Plays golf. He has a private jet and he belongs to all these beautiful private courses and he flies all over playing golf for the other 5 days and makes 20-something million a year to have, whatever, DNA tests where they reveal the baby's not yours, and then someone screams and throws and kicks a chair.
Jerry Springer probably makes that kind of money too. Who's watching these shows in 2020?
People around the world. I think it's a global thing. I mean, Judge Judy makes $45 million a year.
What does Judge Janine make?
Whatever she's going to be the first one that goes to Newsmax when they, when All Out War is declared, because they pulled her show Saturday night. Judge Janine does a Saturday night show, and she was going to go all in on the voter fraud and the crimes that the Biden crime family are committing here. And they didn't air her show. That's going to be a story.
Why did they pull Judge Janine?
I just explained it to you. What are you talking about?
No, you didn't. You said they pulled her, but why did they pull the show?
Because she was going to go all in on the Biden on the voter fraud. And
can I tell you though why the Murdochs and Fox News are kind of done with Trump? I mean, they're done with him because they know that a Biden-McConnell administration will be good for Republicans. Nothing will really happen. They'll retake the House in 2022, only 5 seats away, and be in prime position for the presidency 4 years from now, and not have to answer about Trump's stupid tweets. So for them, this is great.
I don't disagree, Alex. You're onto something. I said this, I tweeted this like 8 years ago. I was pissed off and bummed out when Mitt lost to Obama. I thought it was awful. I liked Mitt at the time. I thought he was a stand-up guy. We've learned since that he's a snake. But without that, we wouldn't have had this Trump, era, this whole exposing all the, the swamp creatures, the deep state. There was a lot of good that came out of this. He was the ultimate disruptor, and he disrupted things wonderfully. And what happens now is you have a terrible president or candidate right now, soon to be president, and a terrible running mate. Biden hasn't taken office yet, and he's already a lame duck. He's not going to do a second term. It would be a shock if he did a second year in office. Forget a second term. And you're right. The Republicans take the House. They're primed to take the House if they hold the Senate. And then you got all these young guys like Josh Hawley and Kristi Noem and these good young candidates. Trump, I did a poll to see who people would like to see. I saw
that. Yes, the first Jerry Callahan poll.
My first poll, and I think it went over pretty well. I forget the number. I had 8,000 respondents.
You weren't. I thought you were censored for one of these polls.
I was censored for that poll. I had to change the wording of it. Did I tell you this?
I saw you tweeted about it. I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote, "Who would you like to see at the top of the GOP ticket in 4 years if Biden succeeds in stealing the election?" Now that's kind of a flippant comment, that's me. It's snark. And it wouldn't go. I tried to tweet it and it said, this can't be posted. And I'm like, what? I didn't even think of it at first. I go, what did I do? And I realized I changed the wording to say, if Trump fails in his legal appeals, and it went right through.
Much catchier.
I guess there are catchwords or catchphrases and they won't let those go through.
Have you lost followers yet today?
I've lost I've lost thousands, like 2,000.
Do you think that's maybe because of what you've been tweeting, or is it all some sort of big
things? I used to gain followers when these times were, intense. And by the way, I've gained followers because they show you all the new people who are following you. You still see that. But the number just keeps plummeting. They just keep stripping people from me, and they're doing it to a lot of right wingers. I think
it's all the people who followed you for your great Brady takes over the years. They're not getting as many of those as they once did. And
anyway, the poll and the results surprised me a little bit. It was the choices for the next candidate were Donald Trump, obviously, Tucker Carlson, Josh Hawley, Kristi Noem, and the winner going away was Donald Trump, who will be 78.
Biden's age, yeah.
I've spent a year mocking Biden for being too old. I can't get behind a 78-year-old. I don't want Donald Trump Sr. to run again. I'd rather see Donald Trump Jr. run. But I like the idea of Josh Hawley. I love the idea of Tucker Carlson. There's a bunch of good candidates. Tom Cotton, Kristi Noem's a great. Ron DeSantis. I'm ready. You guys succeeded in stealing this election. That's fine. We'll move on. I don't want. And I look forward to post-presidency Trump, his rallies, his TV shows, whatever. It's going to be wild. It's going to be entertaining. but I don't want him to run in 4 years. That's crazy. I don't want.
Well, he would be the front runner going away. And I mean, I got news for you. This Trump coalition, the 71 million voters, 16% of the black vote, close the gap with Latinos. I don't think Josh Hawley is bringing that to the table.
He's
so
good,
Trump,
though. He's good.
These guys, Tom Cotton, Josh Hawley, Rubio, Mike, these guys are all like wet blankets. I mean, they have no personality. They have no charisma.
Okay,
Trump would eat them alive in a primary 4 years from now, like he did 4 years ago.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What about Tucker Carlson? He has charisma.
That would be the X factor. But he would never run though if Donald Trump Sr. was running again. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump Sr. will have to move on. 78 is just too old. All right, quickly. Let me tell you about Shea, and then we're going to get to the Monday night game. You just keep, So let me move on. Please, Alex.
We're having a good time. We're bantering.
I'm going to tell you about Shea. You know what Shea can do for you? They can build you a building, your own concrete, precast concrete building, and they could do it this winter. All right, this was billed as the single worst Monday Night Football game ever, and because the Jets were 0-8, the Patriots had lost 4 straight. It was, the Jets were 10-point underdogs, and I said this yesterday, Reimer. I looked for somebody picking the Jets. The ESPN had 26 guys, experts, picking the game. None of them picked the Jets. The only one who picked the Jets was Tom Shattuck yesterday on this show, and Tom Shattuck knows nothing about football. I give him credit. We bet. I lost. He won. The Jets lost, but they covered, obviously. The Patriots won by 3. It was one of the worst wins you've ever seen from the New England Patriots because they're out of the race. They need a top pick. They need a quarterback. And I think a lot of Patriots fans are rooting for, not for Trevor Lawrence. They got no shot at that. Poor Trevor is going to be a Jet. He's doomed. But if you want to get a quarterback, you want a top pick, you want to be as high up as you can get. And they had this game lost, and they blew it, and they won it. It was kind of disappointing if you're a Patriot fan. But the Jets came in. They had their quarterback was out, Sam Darnold. Their best offensive player got hurt, the Becton, the big tackle. Their best defensive player was out. They have the worst friggin' coach in the league, and Adam Gase. And somehow they were kicking the Patriots' ass. They were 0-8, and 6 of the losses were by double digits. Everyone just steamrolled them, and they were beating the Patriots. They were up 10 in the fourth quarter, and they just found a way to blow it. But it is. I mean, they had too many men on the field. I mean, just stupid things. Flacco threw this idiotic interception when he could have eaten up the clock and won the game.
Terrible.
But it is amazing how many Patriots fans have given up on Cam, give up on the season, and just want a top pick. They've moved on, and they got an excuse because COVID season is not real. It's just a COVID season. It's not a real
That's what
season.
Matt Light says.
He says what?
Well, Matt Light said that last week, that it's a fake season, and that's why Belichick doesn't really care.
Well, you know what? He's not wrong. It doesn't feel – I mean, it's going to feel real, don't you think, in January when the playoffs start?
Well, if there are no fans in the stands, it'll feel kind of like –
fans in red states. They got fans. They got fans in Dallas. They got fans
in Kansas City. Yeah.
City. They'll have fans. And the Super Bowl obviously is a neutral
Tampa.
site. So they'll have fans. That's Florida. They have fans. So it'll feel real. But it is funny watching so many Patriot fans rooting against them.
I know. What's up with that? This is pathetic. This team's 3-5, got an easy schedule, expanded playoffs. Let's go. What happened to what's up with these people?
The Bills are running away with it. The Bills are good, and we'll see.
They are. Josh Allen, my man, he is good. Yeah,
but
I mean, Patriot, you can't be rooting for tank. Who wants to watch that? A team just purposely lose every week? That's terrible. You got to win. Let's go.
And Cam Newton. I mean, I think this is only like the second time he's brought his team back down 10 in the fourth quarter in his career, which is something, as we know, it seemed like Brady did, every other week. But you look at him and you say, he's a lame duck. He's like, he's not going to be around much longer. He's got this season, and maybe he doesn't even make it through the season. And then you move on to someone else. And when he on a 4th down play just fell down, you're going, oh man, this guy doesn't really have that, it factor, which we've seen for 20 years. This guy's stumbling and bumbling and falling down. And then he brought him back and he won. I guess that's a good thing. I guess, he showed something there at the end when he made that big throw to put him in field goal range. But his job now is to tank.
No, his job is to win. Belichick would never tank, especially without Brady. He would never do it.
Well, that's what I said about Trevor Lawrence. To get Trevor Lawrence, you have to win like one game or no.
You're not going to do it. It's already gone. The Jets are winless. You're already 3 games behind them. 3 games behind them. I mean, so yeah, you're not going to get the number 1 pick. I mean, you're going to get a good draft pick. You'll draft higher than you have in 20 years. That should be good enough.
And they should do is get some stud wideout, because we saw last night they don't have any playmakers.
Well, I mean, Belichick hasn't drafted
either.
He hasn't drafted a Pro Bowler since 2013. I mean, you want to talk about the reason why the Patriots have no talent. It's not because of the salary cap or any of these other excuses. It's because they can't draft. Belichick's had terrible drafts.
But he hasn't had top picks. He's got one now. He's going to have one now. You know what else? You'll have quarterbacks like Sam Darnold will be available, right? You'll have quarterbacks, like Mitch Trubisky, guys who were top picks, and
maybe Daniel Jones, maybe Tua Tagovailoa if the Dolphins don't like what they see, which is insane to me.
No, I think they're going to like him. I think he looks good so far. But Sam Darnold is, they don't have any use for him if they get Trevor Lawrence. But it's interesting to watch them. That same team we saw beat the Jets is going to play next Sunday night against the Ravens.
Good game.
That doesn't feel hopeful, but we'll see. It was entertaining. I found it more entertaining than I thought I would. I stayed awake and skipped, Sean Hannity and Laura to watch it. So it wasn't bad. But anyway, Reimer, you got anything, on Substack that we should read?
Always good Substack post. It's Outsports' 21-year anniversary today. That's exciting. Later this week, Boston Magazine, Jerry, you'll like this piece. How are we feeling about the election now, Boston? Now that it's over, are we elate? Are we back to dread?
Well, we feel good that COVID is over, and we can hit the streets.
Good. COVID's over. As long as we're celebrating a Biden victory, we can do that. So yes.
Yeah, that's one good thing. There's not a lot of good to come out of this for the country, especially when you look at Biden's agenda in the first few days. I'm excited to get back in the Paris Climate Accord, but
I know you are.
We should be opening up schools and open up restaurants and open up malls and movie theaters, because the election's over and COVID is over, and I'm excited. But anyway, that is Alex Reimer from you name it, Boston Magazine and Forbes and Outsports and his own little Substack. How do you read you on Substack?
Reimer.substack.com. It's very easy. You can sign up right there.
All right. That is Alex Reimer, the hardest working commie we know. Thanks, Reimer. And thanks to Shea Concrete and Allied Paving in DCU. And thanks to everybody for listening. Cullinane, anything else? What I missed?
Thoughts and prayers to Sergio Garcia. He was my pick to win the Masters. His second green jacket, but thoughts and prayers, he's out. So it is what it is.
That is too bad. I enjoy watching him, but I can't believe we get to watch the Masters this week. I'm so excited. It's like the best sporting event, and it's a little different. It's weird because usually I love watching the Masters, even though it's the same course, same holes, same players essentially. But this is different. This is November, and it's going to look the azaleas are going to look a little different. I don't even know. Are they out in November?
I hope so. You got to be all fired up for game day being there. I'm assuming, right? Like you can't allow any fans, but game day can show up.
I know. Why can't it's Georgia? They should allow fans. I don't know. Some fans. It seems like you could social distance. It's a golf course. People could wear their masks and social distance. But whatever. It's going to be great TV as always. Quick quiz for you two guys. Who's the defending champ?
Oh, who did win the Masters? Was it a nobody last year?
Well, nobody won in this past spring, so it would have been Tiger, right?
Yes,
2019.
It was Tiger.
I'm a sports guy. You know me.
Yeah, he's got to hand the jacket to Xander Schauffele. That's it'll be Bryson DeChambeau, the favorite, who's going to overpower the course, and Tiger's going to have to slip the jacket on Bryson or Xander because he won a year and a half ago, and then last year it was canceled or postponed. So Tiger's your defending champ, which will be interesting. Watching him out there play. I mean, watching everybody play the Masters is great. Looking forward to it. Good one. Calling in. I'll get into that some more later this week. When we do our Masters preview and make our picks and have our pool like we used to do in the old days. All right. Thanks to everybody for listening. I'm Jerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Podcast, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.